get in that ring.
Yeah, what? Get in that ring. I'll get in that ring and give it to you. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course, mate. You're lucky you're fighting tomorrow. You're lucky, mate. Don't look at it.
Okay, let him come close, man. I like this. I like this energy.
Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn were separated by security after their first face-to-face encounter in nearly 2 years. Chris Eubank Jr. returned to the ring for the first time in 2024, facing Comprometto as part of the undercard for the big fight between Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. At 35 years old, Eubank Jr. had a lot to prove after some ups and downs in recent years, and many wondered if he could still compete at the top level. He put on an impressive performance, securing a TKO win in the 7th round, showing that he's still a strong contender. After his victory, the excitement continued as Eubank Jr. had a heated face-off with Conor Benn. The two had unfinished business after their previous fight was called off due to Benn's failed drug test. This confrontation has reignited interest in a possible future match between the two, making it a hot topic in British boxing. Chris Eubank Jr. criticized Conor Benn for confronting him while he was at his weakest, cutting weight and dehydrated. He labeled Benn a coward for not approaching him during a previous event where both were present, indicating that if Benn truly wanted to engage, he would have done so then. Eubank highlights that Benn's actions demonstrate a lack of bravery, revealing his disdain for Benn's attempt to provoke him under such circumstances.
Confrontation with another man on the day when I'm weighing in. You know, it wasn't staged. It was a setup. Eddie Hearn probably, Eddie Hearn probably set the whole thing up. And listen, it's great promotion for the fight, but at the end of the day, it shows you what type of guy this kid is.
Chris Eubank Jr. explains that he remained calm and composed despite Conor Benn's push, emphasizing that he didn't want to risk injury or jeopardize his upcoming fight by engaging in a confrontation. He underscores the importance of saving his energy for the actual match, asserting that he will respond decisively once the fight begins, contrasting the pre-fight altercation with the serious nature of their upcoming battle.
You know, that's how I know I'm going to absolutely squash this insect.
He pushed you as well. What made you not fight back?
What am I going to do? Fight a guy while I've got no food in my stomach for the last 2 days, no water, and I'm fighting tomorrow. What am I going to do? Risk an injury, risk all the training and the money I've got, getting cut or hurting my hand or something over some idiot who's trying to, make a little name for himself? Nah, he can push me all he wants. What's going to happen when that bell goes and we're standing in front of each other?
Chris Eubank Jr. expressed disdain for Conor Benn, labeling him a coward for confronting him while he was cutting weight and physically vulnerable. Eubank notes that Benn had the chance to confront him during a previous event but chose not to, highlighting Benn's character as one lacking bravery. Despite being dehydrated and fatigued, Eubank remains calm and confident, dismissing Benn as insignificant and referring to him as an insect. He views the confrontation as a promotional stunt rather than a genuine threat, and emphasizes his focus on proving himself in the ring, where he believes the real contest will unfold. Chris Eubank Jr. confirms that he did not initiate the confrontation with Conor Benn, emphasizing that Benn's bravado stems from Eubank being in a vulnerable state while cutting weight. Eubank sarcastically remarks on Benn's newfound boldness, suggesting that he only felt brave knowing Eubank was at a disadvantage. He reiterates his commitment to focus on the upcoming fight, highlighting his determination to stay concentrated on his performance in the ring and dismissing any distractions.
Don't the bag or something like that. He shouted it. I didn't even know.
He left our interview to when he saw you walking.
Okay, well, I didn't approach him.
No, you didn't approach him.
I heard him shout something, and I turned around and I was like, wow, look at this guy, he's here. How big the balls have grown now that he knows I'm cutting weight. Listen, it is what it is. I'm here to do a job. I'm here to fight tomorrow. That's all I'm focused on. And until then, I actually don't even want to think about or see or hear about that kid again.
Chris Eubank Jr. emphasizes the confrontation, explaining that when Conor Benn began approaching him, he refused to back down. Eubank makes it clear that he was not going to let Benn pull up on him without reacting, meeting him directly in the middle to address the situation head-on, showing he wasn't intimidated.
Well, that all escalated pretty quickly. I mean, how did it even happen?
I was just mid-interview and he's bowled over. Started walking over to me and thinks I ain't going to meet him in the middle. Think I'm going to let anyone pull up on me.
Meanwhile, Ben told Eubank Jr. before taking off his sunglasses and stepping closer to his rival, "You're lucky you're fighting tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow after the fight. I'll get in that ring and give it to you." Ben continued with the foul language, warning a member of security, who placed his arm between the boxers, to take his hand away. Conor gave further warnings to Eubank. "I'll f you up. Watch what happens, dead boy walking. I'll give you a good beating in front of 60,000, that's what's gonna happen. I'll be there tomorrow, arrogant punk." A smiling Eubank said, "It's okay, let him come close. I like this energy," before being shoved in the chest by Ben. Eubank Jr. labeled him a kid, with Ben then accusing him of arrogance. In September, Eubank Jr., who has won 33 pro bouts with 3 defeats, said he expects a fight with Ben to happen within the next 12 months. Ben, who has always insisted he is innocent of intentionally doping, is currently suspended from fighting in the UK after UK anti-doping, and the British Boxing Board of Control successfully appealed against the lifting of his ban. He has won all 23 of his fights, but his last 2 wins, against Rodolfo Orozco in 2023 and Peter Dobson in February, have taken place in America. Later on, Chris Eubank Jr. tweeted, "This little weasel, a Conor Nigel, waited to the day I'm starving and dehydrating myself making weight to grow some balls and pull up on me." Furthermore, Chris Eubank Sr. had a message for Conor Benn. He said that his son is very dangerous since he has a huge build, and Conor should focus on fighting at 147.
Chris Eubank Jr. was a fantastic fighter, is a fantastic fighter, but he's too heavy. Okay, he is a 168-pound fighter. For him to get down to 160 now is too much for him. So Conor would be fighting someone who has lost his punch resistance, which was proven with this Mr. Smith. Again, I don't talk against my son. I'm there to protect him because I know how dangerous this young man is in Conor Benn. I know how dangerous he is. 147 fights, 147. Leave Junior alone.
Meanwhile, Conor Benn said that he was innocent when he failed the drug tests when he commented, "I've been proving my innocence. Forget the narrative that's being pushed. I was cleared a year and a half ago by the people who had done the test. I had passed all my UCAD tests during that same period. So, their authority I had passed. Critics say I haven't done this, I haven't done that, but the reality is I've gone through every avenue possible to do that." Conor Benn doesn't believe that the drug tests were right and continues to show that he is innocent. He further stated, "This is something I'm willing to fight for and have fought for, and I'm glad it's coming to an end. I haven't bent, I haven't swayed on the truth, and that's all that matters to me. My integrity. I couldn't accept the ban. If I ain't done something, I won't raise my hand to it. Never this. I stay true in what I believe in, and the easy option would be, yeah, I'll just take this. But I continue to fight and spend hundreds of thousands, missing out on big opportunities." Meanwhile, Conor explained how his relationship went sour with Eubank Jr. when he stated that he was having an interview, and then Chris came in and started talking bad about him.
I didn't think I'd feel the way I felt. I thought it'd be, quite business, but it's very, very personal. Like I thought it would be, let's do what we got to do. Let's play the game. But it's not playing the game. It's very personal for me and brings back a lot of trauma, definitely.
How did you two cross paths? Because I believe he would have been there for his weigh-in in the morning.
I was there doing an interview, and he pulled up and walked over and started talking shit. And thought I wasn't going to meet him halfway.
Previously has told Sky Sports about his fight with Ben. That fight doesn't need to be rushed in any way, in my opinion. Conor Benn isn't going anywhere. The timing has to be right, and he does need to be fully acquitted of the situation he's in. He can't have any appeals going on with the board. He has to be 100% clear for that fight to go ahead. As far as I'm concerned at this moment in time, he isn't. So that's why I can't say when that fight will happen. On the other hand, Conor Benn explained that he would gladly come up to 160 for the biggest fights, especially with Eubank. Conor added, "I feel like even though I'm the one giving everything away here, I'm coming up 2 divisions. That fight takes me off course of where we originally set out to go, so we'll see what big names are there at 147. I think it's a matter of time before I get that strap around my waist, but who knows what the future holds. I'm on the hunt. I'm not going to get sidetracked by this or that. Legacy stands, money comes and goes. It's something I've got to do. The big fights are what I want, and if I don't have to come up to 160, it'll be even better." Furthermore, Conor Benn explained that he really wants to hurt Eubank badly, and also addressed the loss of his father by saying that he should have won against Eubank Sr.
You think I'm going to let a man come pull up on me? No, I'll meet you straight in the middle, mate.
I know there was spite 2 years ago when the fight was meant to happen. There's spite now.
It's
clearly.
different, but it's different
Did it ever
spite.
flatline? Did it flatline in the
No,
middle
it
at all?
didn't flatline. It was different spite. when what happened before, we knew what was what. It was more a matter of, I'm going to beat your ass because my dad should have won the second fight and I'm going to, even it out. Whereas now it's, I want to hurt this kid. And I didn't feel like that before. I think now it's definitely, I wish the camera.
Conor Benn is not sure he will fight Chris Eubank Jr. anymore, preferring to focus on a journey to win a world title. Benn is hoping to become a welterweight champion after announcing himself as one of the best fighters in the division. Belts could soon come up for grabs when Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. decide upon their rematch. If it takes place at super welterweight, then in theory all 4 belts could be vacated. Speaking to IFL TV, he explained how he is far from certain that the all-British fight will ever take place, and he may keep his focus at welterweight. He said, "I'm not really too involved in the negotiations. I'm a fighter. My job is to fight. I just focus on the training and the fighting. I'm disappointed in the fight not happening, but it's the fight I want to give the fans. It's the big names, the big fights. It's a lot of talk about me fighting these big names. Why are they not happening? I'm ready to go for any of them. I was preparing for a big fight." Eddie Hearn describes the unusual situation during the weigh-in when Ben Shalom pushed Frank Warren out of the way to stand in the middle for a photo. Eddie explains that typically, there's mutual respect during weigh-ins, and he usually lets others like Frank take the central position. However, Ben's actions were surprising, as it's uncommon for promoters to be so focused on being in the middle.
Honestly, I have absolutely no idea. I was standing on the other side. Listen, it's a very weird situation that normally when you're doing he wants to get the stomping ground in. Normally, when you do a fight, like you're in the middle, yeah. And for every Riyadh season card, I've never if it's my fight, it's everybody's fight. It doesn't really matter. You just sort of go forward. And most of the time, to be honest with you, out of respect, I let Frank go in the middle anyway. Even AJ Dubois, whatever it is, it's not really, Other people will have in their contracts that they must be in the middle and really weird stuff. And I think it was just a case of everyone sort of stepped forward and Ben just shoved Frank out of the way and dived in the middle to get, the picture. And I was just like, what's going on here?
Eddie Hearn talks about the brief confrontation between Frank. He clarifies that despite reports, the exchange only lasted a few seconds, not the extended back and forth some claimed. Eddie uses this moment to highlight the unpredictability of the boxing world, where even minor incidents can blow up quickly. He views it all as part of the drama and spectacle that often surrounds the sport, reinforcing how egos and tensions flare up, but ultimately add to the entertainment value of the event. So what are your thoughts on this matchup? Who is the better man and at what weight? Let us know in the comments section below.